am I on? I'm on. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It is Leslie the Little Plastic Inside tonight, April 14th, 2024. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Yeah, I got forced inside tonight because it's raining and it's dark, and we had my youngest son's birthday party today. So, and then I went out and I had stuff to do. I had shopping to do all weekend. So, I'm hanging out with my friend here, my buddy. Yeah, she does look like me a little. Yeah, not too bad, except for the hair. So, my kid turned 21 this weekend, April 14th, 2024. I'm here, I'm standing up today. I got my new little lamp. It's actually called a mother-daughter lamp. Look at that. I got the daughter on. I'm getting stuff from my new place. It's shaping up. I still don't have a table. Still don't have a couch. So I got a lot of room to move around. I got my treadmill over there across the room. I got my TV on the floor over there. And I got all this stuff I gotta leave to. My former spouse, I saw him today. We were, the four of us were all together. I went over. The house is just up the street. I said, what? I can't find all the pictures of the kids from like 2001 to 2009. There's this big. He's like, oh, I got them on the CDs. He's got them all burned on the CDs in the fireproof box in the basement. And I said, oh, okay. But then I can't load them onto my hard drive on my laptop because I don't have a CD player, which he claims he gave me when I moved out of the house. But I looked in all my stuff and I've sorted through all my books. I gave a whole bunch of books and albums away last week. And I went to Savers. Yeah, so I gave a whole bunch of record albums away. There's no CD. Anyway, if he's watching, there's no CD player. I don't have it. It's in your stockpile, either in the garage or in the basement, with all your equipment, your CDs, your DVDs, your hard drives. He's an electrical engineer, folks. He keeps everything. He has every box from every phone he's ever bought. I've got stuff, I get pictures of stuff. He's cleaning out his parents' house to sell soon because his mother passed away last year. So I'm over there today and I look in our curio cabinet where we used to keep all our tchotchkes, the nice stuff, pictures of the kids on their first communion and their confirmation and what the photo they got. His mom gave us a frame and it got cut off. So you see us with the bishop, the two of the pair, us, my husband, in the front, and then you just see half, because my older son was sponsor for my younger son. And so, he was on one side of the bishop, and my youngest son was on the other side. But half of them got cut off because the frame she gave was only wide enough. And the picture was this way and the frame was this way. Okay. You can't make stuff up, folks. So that frame is there with half of the kids cut off. You could just see half of their face and one leg, The other half was cut off. This level of hilarity, it just comes at me in waves. Anyway, I gotta go with it. What was I talking about? Oh, the CD player. So I can't scan the things because I'm getting a headache. So anyway, if he's watching, I don't have the CD player. I went through everything. I gave stuff to Savers. I went there. I saw a Flashdance album. I said, oh, I almost bought it. And then I realized I don't have a record player. He has a whole box of cassettes in the basement. Not half, a quarter of them are mine, I'm sure. But there's no way to prove it. But I know which ones are mine and which freaking CDs are that I had. He's got 3/4 of them, but the other quarter, so probably half he had when we got, no, maybe a quarter he had. And then another quarter we bought, or half we bought together. No, another quarter we bought together when we were married. And then another quarter he inherited from this or that relative, right? And then a quarter of them, or less maybe, were mine. So I'm like, but how do I prove that? Well, you're supposed to split everything. It doesn't work that way. His and mine and everything. And then he had CDs, I had cassettes that were duplicates, like we had multiple Phil Collins. This is Gen X, if you want to know, okay, people. So I see albums I want to get, right? But I don't have a record player, nor do I have a cassette player or a CD player anymore. I've got, so I think what I want to do is set up, they have these like media, I'm like going backwards. Like all this progress, I got streaming videos on my TV, any song I want to listen to. But all I want to do is like place cassettes and CDs and, we're going backwards, folks. They have these stands you can buy to put your albums, I saw Flash Dance. I'm like, oh, I wanted to buy it so badly because I didn't get it. Because I have it on cassette. Because when it was happening in the 80s, we didn't buy albums. All my albums are like Cinderella, Peter and the Wolf. I've got Bee Gees, everything I listened to in the 70s. I got Andy Gibb, I got Sean Cassidy. Those were the things we listened to. I was born in 65, so these are the albums I've got. I'm like, oh, I've got like, my first 45 was I'm a Little Teacup. And then the first one I bought myself was Casey and the Sunshine Band. So anyway, I digress. Where was I? Anyway, so we were there today, and just a little background, warm up, folks. And my kid he said, so anyway, long and short of it, and then I just had to leave because the younger one was working on his car, his Miata. We took pictures. The older one had to go back. He has a Dungeons and Dragons. Oh no, he's staying overnight because he's got Zoom Dungeons and Dragons with his friends online, at his dad's house. So we were there. I went and we had, so the guys wanted, there's this place called Bear's Smokehouse. They wanted Bear's barbecue. So I got the Mama Bear salad with the brisket on top, which is basically like London broiled chopped up. It was good. And they had ribs, they had the ribs. Of course, because that kid, he has to make a mess. When he was a baby, the birthday cake, it was all over. We had to just take his clothes off and just throw him in the tub. Everything was all over. We were picking, that kid, the younger one, we were picking chocolate cake out of the floorboards when he was 8. The older one had a little bib, maybe he had a little chocolate on there. Just a little bit around his mouth. That's the Virgo. The Aries, that kid lives, right? On his birthday yesterday, he said something about, he's got this kid, this friend, right, he's a really good kid, but he's in a band, he's the kid who leads my son into all of these questionable activities. And the funny part is, I used to teach that kid, Jay. Jay is the first initial of his name. I'm not going to say it. I taught him. He was in my CCD class. Now he knows like motorcycle people and stuff. Like, took my kid. My kid apparently went. He said it was originally he had to go to the supermarket. He bought a 6-pack of Pabst PBR. What's PBR? Pabst Blue Ribbon, Mom. He went to the supermarket and he bought himself a 6-pack of beer with his friends, and he did that. So that I gave him some like snacks, like like pistachio pup snack and chili like lollipops. What else did I get him? What else did I got him some birthday cake flavored popcorn, and I got him a tumbler because he's an on-the-go kid. One of those nice black silver ones. It says 2003 vintage on it. He loved it with the little stainless straw. On Amazon they have those. You know the ones. I didn't want to get him just 21 because that's expires. The next day it's obsolete. So I got him the nice 2003 classic one. So he can have cold stuff in there, for the summer. And what else did I get? I got him like a gift card to the massive home store or conglomerate so he could go and get stuff for his new place. He needs towels, come to find out. So he can go get his towels. And, Mom doesn't have to go shopping with him. He can just get that. Way to go. Anyway, we learned, don't we? Yeah, so that was a success. And his brother bought him a cake. He said, oh, we're sick of ice cream cake. So we got him a nice yellow cake. And he put like 21 candles because we didn't have the 2 and the 1. So my oldest son just bought a bunch of regular candles and he put 21. And the kids like light them all. And then they put like 2 on the side. So it looked like a rocket taking off. And then he licked each one of the candles. So 21 isn't grown up yet, folks. That teenage brain thought it was a good idea to go to a motorcycle rally yesterday. Anyway, I'm not saying. He's like, Mom, I'm gonna keep my distance. Okay. They're fine. Those are nice people. They're nice people. They're nice motorcycle people. But he went with his friend. And now he's done that. And so when I came, never mind. When I came, he had a plastic bag of some green stuff. And I said, oh, what's that? And he's like, Mom, it's, he had a name for it, I forgot. But he picked it in the woods because he's a forestry major. And it smelled really strong like garlic and onion. And he's like, yeah, you can rake or something like that. I don't know. You can cook with it, and it gives it nice oniony, garlicky flavor. He's learning these fascinating things. He's got his finals coming up, so, there's that. Anyway, so my husband and I, we're sitting there, we're having our barbecue, we're talking, you guys know who, O.J. Simpson was, because we just heard, he passed this week, and it's all over social media, and it's a funny thing, not funny, but what we told the guys was that this was going on, the chase with the white Bronco. It was exactly a week before I met my husband. We met on a golf course. And I remember, watching the thing and the whole media circus that was going on. And then the subsequent trial was, we were dating, we got engaged in January. That's when the trial was, January 95. And so we were witnesses, right? Not witnesses like Cato Kalin, who was in their guest house and all this. The kids were like, they're like, oh yeah, they didn't know, like they knew vaguely that he had been a football player and, he had been a movie star. And we just basically told them that. And then there was this thing that happened. But the fact that it went along with our marriage and our courtship and, it's a very Gen X thing because we were, it happened when the oldest of us Gen Xers were just turning 30. We were having our Saturn return and this and that. And it was just this whole celebrity culture. But the ironic thing was that our oldest son, he ended up going to the University of New Haven, where Dr. Henry Lee, who was, the doctor, the forensic doctor, who testified in the OJ trial, that my son, he ended up teaching at University of New Haven and having a whole school of criminal justice and forensics at the college where both of our son, my son was, the older one was a senior when the younger one went in as a freshman and did fire science for a year. And then he transferred to UConn. So I'm like, you start, as you get, get into your 50s as a Gen Xer, I'm thinking, all these things that are now, it's like fitting together, it's that we were witnesses, right? And then, so I can, sometimes I feel I can relate to the apostles. There's the reading today where the risen Jesus in the Gospel of Luke appears to the apostles, right? And he says, why are you so troubled? They're all shocked. He said, why are you questioning? Why are your hearts troubled? Did you not pay attention that you were witnesses to me when I was on earth? He's like, here, you can touch me. He was in 3D. He had not ascended yet, right? To the higher realms where things aren't physical. He was in the same dimension as the apostles, right? So they could touch him. They could give him a piece of fish. He could eat it, right? But he was, his awareness, his consciousness, of course, because he had resurrected from the dead. He had gone. He was the first time that God was made manifest. Christ, the Christ is the fully conscious master, ascended master, right? But after he ascended, but he had an ego. He had a personality because he walked the earth, right? Just like his apostles. So he had an appearance. He had a personality. He had a physical appearance, right? Like we do, right? But when he appeared, he opened their minds. So this is all what I think. This is my interpretation of what I read in the, and I'm relating it to what's happening now, what I see happening now. And it's, the Lord, let your face shine upon us. In other words, I think that the theme this week is that, there's a spiritual awakening going on, a mass one. All the astrologers and everybody that I follow agrees with this, but the things that are happening to me correlate to this. I'm seeing in my own life, and you too would see where, if you really stop and you go back and you look at your life, you look at your stories, right? Get away from that out there, what people are telling you, what blah, blah, blah. And if somebody resonates with you, pay attention to that. Because God appears to us in many ways. I mean, I saw 2 bumblebees today out on my step. I see spiders, and everything means something to me. So, every sunset, everything, it all means something, right? Yeah, I'm weird that way. But like he said, these people, just to some people, this looks weird, right? To the apostles, he said, why are you looking at me? Jesus said, why are you looking at me like it's so weird? Then he opened their minds, right? And the third eye, opened their third eye so they could see, they could understand from a higher perspective, not weighed down by all the fear and all the doubting. And, they had been conditioned to think, oh, somebody's died, dead, that's the end, right? But they didn't know because they were yet asleep, right? They were yet awake. But so this is the thing, so I'm kind of relating this to the way we Gen Xers, are talking to our kids about the past, right? We were witnesses. There's some things, they weren't there, right? My dad's generation, they're forgetting, they think that they're losing, their memory, whatever. They confuse what's happening to them spiritually with, aging, which is that's a collective unconscious. That's something that we've been taught that should happen to us, right? That we, this and that. People who are out there, this and that, and they talk about being old or being what. That's not really supposed to happen. It's just what we've been brought up to think should happen. Anyway, it's a whole other video. And the baby boomers, they don't want to admit that they don't know something, or that they, you know, they're all into like the, you know, the hippy dippy stuff. But that's not, you know, when it comes down, they were into that stuff back in the 60s, and then they got way away from it. And, you know, so to me, some of them, I grew up thinking that they didn't walk the talk, right? Maybe they started out talking and getting, you know, on the right track. But then a lot of them, you know, it's one of the other creators that I follow. They ran amok, right? They got off track, and they started chasing material success, worldly success, power, you know. These are the yuppies that we observed in the 80s when we were in high school and college. And I looked at them and I said, you know, initially I thought, oh, this is the way I have to go because this is the way the baby boom went, you know, in my parents' generation. But it wasn't. And that's where some of us got a little confused with our careers, especially, I think me, and spiritually, you know. I got a little confused in the 80s and 90s because I thought, oh, I gotta go this business route. And then it said, no. So, yeah, I mean, in the Bible it says those who keep his word, right? Some say, I know him. This is the Gospel of Luke. Some say, I know him, but they don't. But they don't back it up with their actions, right? So they don't walk the talk. So these are hypocrites, right? That they talk about in the gospel. If you read the gospels, it's now, all right? So those who keep his word, meaning, I think what it means is keeping God's word is not that you you know those people go around Bible thumping, like using the Bible and using the word that Jesus said to further their own material aims and the gains in the world for their own selfish purposes, to lead other people astray, right? That's what he's talking about. He's saying the people who are true, the people who, you know, want to lead people to a higher spiritual ground, right? Those are the people who keep his word. They keep the word the way it was meant to be. So it's pretty obvious with the son and the weakest. It came to me immediately. I said, cameo, word up, word up. When you hear the call, you gotta get it underway. Word up. You don't want to hear me sing. Anyway, Funk R&B, May 27th, 86. It was released. It was summer of between my junior and senior year in college. I was 20, almost 21, same age as my young kid. First single off their 13th album, Word Up. MTV video got to number 6 in the Billboard 100. LeVar Burton was in the MTV video as a police detective. Comes and tries to arrest the band. Guy who wrote it, Larry Blackman. And yeah, that's funny because where I used to live, our neighbor was Larry, and he used to go out. He's African American, you know, guy, grandpa, baby boomer, I think. He used to go out in the yard after dinner or on Sundays in the, you know, summer evenings, puffing on his pipe or his cigar interchangeably. And he used to take his, you know, an iron, and he used to chuck golf balls. And some of them would go in his neighbor's yard, very small yards. Some of them would usually go into our yard. So if we were sitting out in the backyard, Larry got out there, and I said, I don't want him to, you know, I don't want to get whacked in the head with a golf ball. So we planted some trees, but that didn't, because they went right through the trees, and we're not allowed to have fences. So you know, anyway. Yeah, so I've talked about that before. But yesterday on the news, there was this, yeah, they were talking about this, the first African American golfer. And he lived, I don't know if he's still around, but he got some kind of, no, he died. But his son was interviewed, Charlie somebody. His dad was a great man, he was a pioneer in golf and, helping to make for more equality and, pave the way for like Tiger Woods and people like that. But it's interesting because, and then I read today, the guy's name was Larry Blackman, who wrote this song, Word Up. So I'm tying it all together, thinking, wow, that's kind of cool. And the whole golf thing about, when the OJ thing happened, I was on the golf course with volunteering for the JCs. I was in the food tent. My ex-husband, he never joined the JCs. I just want to put it out there. I was going for meetings for years, you go and you volunteer, give of your time, and then they take the money that they would make at the golf tournament and they use it to fund their volunteer projects. Now the JCs they're gone now, I think. It's kind of sad, but these kids today, they don't want to volunteer and do all the stuff we did. We gave our time, we served, that's a Gen X thing, I guess. Because it started to go down. But anyway, so Word Up, and then it turned, it was, I guess even before the song, it was just a way of saying, like a street way of saying, yeah, you bet, here, sounds good, thumbs up. Word up, literally word up. These kids today, they probably think that was aggressive to say word up. It just means like, yeah, I agree with you, kind of, it's good, yeah. Anyway, so that if that helps to explain this whole thing. We grew up with songs like this, which is a great song. So when you hear the call, you gotta get it underway, right? You gotta get up, it's a code word, right? Word up. So the song talks about sucker DJs who think you're fly. They're acting cool, but you gotta realize you're acting like fools. Look at that. And that ties in with the whole pretending to say you're with Christ, but just paying lip service, not from the heart. Isn't that funny? It said in the song about people being shocked, seeing you dancing around and, doing your thing, thinking that you're weird, right? Which is exactly what they thought when they saw Jesus, like the apostles. Oh, they said, what are people going to, we can't go out there and start talking about, we saw Jesus. People are going to think we're crazy, right? And then he opened their minds, right? And I think that is what's happening now. I think there's going to be a feeling like, going from, oh, I can't do that. I can't go out there and say that. People are going to think I'm crazy, which is what I thought before I started doing these videos here. And then, little by little, I started just putting it out there. And I realized nobody cares what I had to say. So I just kept doing it. Because I thought, well, nobody's even commented on any of my videos. I got like 2 comments, they've all been good. So I just kept doing it. And I said, well, maybe someday somebody will tell me that they watched my videos and it will be worthwhile. Maybe someday I'll go, everybody will, be looking for something real, something true, and they'll run it into my videos. And they'll say, gee, I really want to hear what a Gen Xer has to say about something. And then maybe they'll click. And maybe it's you watching. Good for you. Word up. Thumbs up. Anyway, we don't have no time for any psychological romance. Word up. No, we don't. We have stuff to do, right? Yeah. I don't want to sit around and need any psychological romance. I got a salad's better. Anyway, I'm going to go and wind down and have a little snack. I've got so many ideas, but it's gonna have to wait for tomorrow. I'm getting a little tired. So that's it for this week. Zazoo, to you. Hope it's a great week. Flushing the water mains. My water's gonna turn brown. Oh man, oh well, I'll deal with it, no problem. I saw a frog this week, just hopped right in front of me. Anyway, till next week, yeah, get it underway. You've been issued your orders, so get it underway. And have a great week. I'll see you next week. Zazoo Plazz out.